morning, dear students of class 11 science. Welcome to environmental science class. So today we are going to learn the examination pattern and the marks distribution of the subject. Then I will begin with the lesson. Okay. So first of all, like in biology, in environmental science also we have got two paper. Paper 1 theory and paper 2 practical or project. Okay. So out of 100 marks assigned for the subject, 70 marks will be for your theory paper, that is paper 1, and remaining 30 marks will be for practical or we can say project work. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the paper 1. So in paper 1, we'll be having two part 1 and part 2. Remember, paper 1 will consist of 70 marks. Clear? So out of 70 marks, part 1 will be for 20 marks and part 2 will be for 50 marks. So part 1, the 20 marks will consist of short answer questions, and all the questions will be compulsory type and will taken from the entire syllabus. And part 2 of 50 marks is divided into three sections, section A, B and C. Now each section consists of 3 questions, that means there will be 9 questions, and out of 9 questions you have to attempt 5 questions, but you have to attempt at least one question from each section. Clear? So let us see the contents or the chapters of the subject. So we have got 3 sections, section A, okay, then we have got section B and section C. So in section A we have got the chapter mode of existence, ecology and pollution. In section B we have got legal regimes for sustainable development and technology and environment. And in section C we have got the chapter design and planning for environmental conservation. So today we will start with the second chapter, that is ecology. Clear? So all of you have taken environmental science as one of your subject. So what do you mean by environmental science? Because you must have a brief idea of the subject that we are taking, right? So what do you mean by environmental science? So when we will define about environmental science, we can say that it is an interdisciplinary of academic field. It is concerned or is connected with chemistry, okay, biology, geology. It's mainly a vast field. Yeah, it is a very huge, a very vast field. It is got concerned with chemistry also, with economics also. We can say, okay, with biology, with geology also. And only that, it also got concerned with biology and information science. That will help us to study the environment. That means the changes that is occurring in our environment, in our surroundings. It will help us to identify whether those changes are harmful or beneficial, and it also give us an idea or the solution to find out or to deal with those harmful environmental changes. Okay, so now since we are going to discuss about the second chapter, ecology. So what do you mean by ecology? Okay, we are going to dealing with the second chapter, ecology. So what do you mean by ecology? So from the definition you can see over here, ecology is a branch of biology that deals with the study of interaction and interrelationship between organisms and their environment. So definition says that ecology is the branch of biology, okay, which will help in understanding the interrelationship between the organism, okay, between different organisms, not only the interrelationship between the organisms, but also it helps us to study the interaction between them, because each and every organism are interacting with each other. Okay, we are not only interacting with each other, with not only interacting with the living component, but also we are interacting with the non-living component also. Clear? So this ecology will help us to study the interrelationship and the interaction between the organisms and the environment, because environment plays an important role in our survival, in our adaptation. Because our life is totally under the control of our surrounding environmental condition. So ecology will help us to deal with those relationship and the interaction between the organisms and the environment where we used to live. So we can say that the study of environmental system is called ecology. So here the word comes environment and the system. So the study of the environmental system is called ecology, where we are going to learn about the interrelationship and the interaction of the living organisms among themselves along with the environment where they used to live or they used to survive. So what does the word environment means? Okay. So environment in a simple term can be defined as all those external forces of the surroundings, that means the place where we used to live, where we are present. Okay, so it can be defined as all those external forces of the surroundings which influence the life of an organism directly or indirectly, because our life is highly influenced by the environmental conditions. We have to adapt, we have to adjust according to the environmental conditions. So environment plays an important role in our survival, in our adaptation. Okay, so just for example, let's say we are sitting in a park. Clear? In a park we can see different types of component. We can see the living component, we can see the non-living component, right? So you can make a list, you can make a list of the living component which you can observe in a park, and the list of the non-living objects we can observe in a park. So those particular components, living components and non-living components that are present in a park or in the surrounding will mainly act as an environmental factor. Okay, so those particular factors, those particular forces will directly or indirectly influence our life. So environment plays an important role in our life. Okay, it has got direct influence or indirect influence in our adaptations, in our survival. So each and every living organisms, may it be mammals, may it be invertebrates or vertebrates, all the living organisms, may it be plant or animals, okay, all of their life is influenced by the environmental conditions of the place where they are present. Clear? So remember what is ecology. So we can say that ecology is the branch of biology that deals with the study of interaction and the interrelationship between the living organisms and their environment. So simple terms, we are saying that it deals with the study of relationship and the interaction of organisms, right, with respect to each other, among themselves, along with their environment. That is definition of ecology. Okay, now next one. What are the categories of ecology? So generally ecology can be divided into 5 broad categories, and those categories are: number 1, physiological ecology; number 2, population ecology; number 3, community ecology; number 4, ecosystem ecology; and number 5, evolutionary ecology. So we'll go through it one by one. So what do you mean by physiological ecology? So you can see definition over here. It is the study of response of single species to environmental conditions such as light or temperature. So we have learned in biology what a species means. It is the lowest unit of classification, right? So physiological ecology means the study of response of an species. Listen very carefully. It is the response of a single species to the environmental conditions, how the species are responding to the environmental conditions. All right, and what are those conditions? It can it may be light, okay, it may be temperature, or it may be any other factors, even any other environmental factor like water also, it can be one of the factor. So physiological ecology, it deals with the study of response of single species. That means it deals with the response of a species to environmental condition. That how does the species will respond to the light, or how does the species will respond to the changes in the temperature, or how does the species will respond to the factor like water, okay, or air. So those particular responses which the species will show towards the environmental factor or toward the conditions for their adaptations for the survival is known as physiological ecology. Okay, so here we'll simply deal with the response of an species of an organisms to the environmental conditions. Number two is population ecology, which is the study of abundance and distribution of individual species. Okay? So population ecology deals with the abundance, means we can say diversity of species along with the distribution, because in our ecosystem we will find different types of species, right? There are a huge variety of species. So here in population ecology we are going to learn about their abundance and distribution. Not only that, we'll also study about the regions or the causes for the distribution of such species. Why are they abundant in a particular habitat, and what is region or the factors behind their diversity? We are going to learn it under population ecology. Then comes community, which is the study of number of species found at a given location. Okay, the study of the number of species found at a given location and interaction that occur there. So whatever the number of species will be present in a particular area, let's talk about our school, right? But let's say our school is a particular habitat where we are usually surviving. So mainly in that particular habitat, we will find large number of species. Let's say we have got species number 1, class 11 science. If it's number 2, class 11 arts, then we have got 12 science, 12 art. Let us consider each and every class in a species. Okay, so we'll find a number of species in a particular area at a given time. Okay, and only that, we'll also study among their interaction, how are they interacting among themselves, and what is the interrelationship between those species. We are going to learn under community ecology. So under community ecology we are going to learn about the study of number of species present in a particular area or habitat, and also we are going to learn about the interaction among each other. So it comes under community ecology. Next comes ecosystem ecology. Okay, so ecosystem ecology is mainly the study of the entire structure and function of micro plants and animals along with their abiotic environment. Abiotic environment means non-living environment. Okay, listen very carefully. Abiotic environment means non-living environment. So in ecosystem we are going to learn about the interaction of living component as well as the non-living component, because microbes, plants, animals, they are the living component. They are the biotic component. B-I-O-T-I-C. Biotic component. So here in ecosystems, we are going to learn about the biotic component, living component, as well as the non-biotic component. That is abiotic component. Abiotic means non-living component. Clear? And how are they interacting with each other? All right. And what are the products they are going to produce? We are going to learn on ecosystem ecology. Not only that, we're also going to learn about the flow of energy in an ecosystem, because you know that the ultimate source of energy in an ecosystem is the sun. So those solar energy will be trapped by the green plants, and those energy which is trapped by the green plants will be utilized for the manufacture of food, which has been supplied to the entire living organisms directly or indirectly. So there will be a constant flow of energy in our ecosystem. So that particular flow of energy also we are going to learn under ecosystem ecology, and we will learn about the nutrient cycle in an ecosystem. That means oxygen cycle, carbon cycle. Okay, we are going to learn under ecosystem ecology. And last one comes the evolutionary ecology, which will try to understand the role of natural selection for the formation or the creation of a species. How does the species has been developed, how the structure has been developed by the action of natural selections. We are going to learn it under evolutionary ecosystem. Evolutionary means evolutions, how the species has been evolved by the role of natural selection, because nature plays an important role in the formation of a species. Okay, so how does natural selections help in the development of structures or help in functioning of an organisms in ecosystem? We are going to learn it under evolutionary ecology. So these are the 5 major categories of ecology. Physiological ecology, that deals with the interaction of a species with the environmental condition. Population ecology, where we are going to learn about the abundance and distribution of species. and also the regions for their distributions. Then comes the community ecology, where we are going to learn about the number of species present in a particular area and the interaction that occurs between them. Then comes the ecosystem ecology, where we will learn the interaction and the interrelationship between the biotic component and the living component along with their environment, where we are going to learn about the flow of energy in ecosystem and the nutrient cycle in an ecosystem. And last one comes the evolutionary ecology, which will help in understanding the role of natural selection in the creation or in the formation or the evolution of new species, how the structure are developed, and how does the functioning of those organisms occurs in an ecosystem. Okay, so these are the five major categories of ecology. Now, we human beings are responsible for bringing the changes in an environment. Okay, because we are dependent directly or indirectly on the products of ecosystem, right? So we are often responsible for bringing the changes in an ecosystem or in an environment where we are living. Okay, so ecology generally help us to identify those changes in an environment and told you that whether those changes are beneficial or harmful. Okay, we must know that if those changes are beneficial, it is good, but if those changes are harmful, then it will be lethal for the organisms. Clear? So ecology will mainly try or mainly help us to learn or identify those changes, whether those changes are beneficial or harmful, and it will also give us an idea or solution so that how we can reduce those harmful changes in an environment. So all those ideas, all those studies is mainly provided by the help of ecology, because I'm telling you that because we human beings are the main wealth that directly or indirectly related with nature, because we are getting lots of products from the nature. We are going with fisheries, okay, we are going for this range management, all the things like agriculture, we are going through the environment only. Okay, so since over here we are concerned with the environment, we are concerned with the organism, so in general, once I'm saying that in general we can define ecology as the branch of biological science that deals with the study of relationship between the organisms with respect to each other along with their surroundings or along with their environment where we used to live. Clear? So this is the general definition of ecology. Now, before going to learn the ecosystem, now there are general key terms which we have to go through. Okay, so the key terms that we are going to learn is population and community. Now, what is population? So kindly note it down. Population is a group of organisms of the same species. Okay, population is a group of organisms of the same species living in a particular locality or geographical area at a particular time. So when we talk about populations, we are talking about the group of organisms, and those group of organisms, they must belong to the same species. For example, when we are talking about tiger populations, we'll only consider the tiger, will not consider the lion. Okay, so we'll only consider or will only take into account only the number of tigers. So population means the group of organisms which belong to the same species, which lives in a particular locality or in a particular area at a particular time. Clear? Or we can say that it is a group of interacting individuals of the same species. Okay, so in a populations we will find a number of organisms or a group of organisms which belong to the same species, which occupy a particular location, particular area at a particular time. Simple example: fish in a pond. Which in a pond you are finding the group of organisms of the species of fish. So fish mainly makes a population which is present in a pond in a particular time. Okay, so population means the group of organisms which belong to the same species. Now, when we talk about population, okay, when we talk about population, we can say that all the individuals, all right, all the individuals of a given species, all the individuals of a given species in a particular area at a particular time is forming the population. But we can say that no two individuals are identical. That means within the population also, it's saying that within the population also, two individuals are not identical, they are not similar. There can be differences in terms of their genetic makeup, in terms of their gene. Okay, so within the population also, individuals cannot be same in terms of their genetic makeup. Clear? Not only that, but their way of survival, but their way of reproduction can be also different. Clear? And next comes the community. A group of organisms or different species living together in a given area, forming a self-sustained unit, forms the community. Now, as population says that it's a group of organisms belonging to the same species, whereas community says that it's a group of organisms of different species. So when we consider a group of organisms belonging to different species, that will form a major community. Clear? So in a community, we can find the species of tiger, species of a lion, or the species of a deer. So all those species which are really different from each other, if they are present in a given area at a particular time, will form the community. So when we're talking about population, we are talking about the species which are same. But when we are talking about the community, we are talking about the group of organisms which belong to different species. Okay, which belong to different species, different groups which occur obviously together in a particular area. All right. So therefore, community refers to all the population in a particular location at a particular time. So when we consider all the organisms belonging to different species which lives in a particular area at a particular time, will form the community. So population means the group of organisms belonging to same species, and community means the group of organisms which belong to different species. The species can be of tiger, maybe of lion, okay, or deer. So all those organisms which belong to different species, it will form the community. So these are the key terms which you have to remember: what is population and what is community. Okay, now we'll discuss about the ecosystem. Now, what is ecosystem? You discuss under ecosystem ecology that it helps in the study of interaction between the living component and the non-living component along with their environment. Okay, so here we are going to discuss about ecosystem. So kindly note the definition. An ecosystem is a living community of plants and animals. What said that? Ecosystem is a living community. Community means a group of organisms belonging to different species. So we will find species from different groups. You can say organisms from different species, and those species can be of plant and can be of animal. So in ecosystems, we are finding the living community of plants and animals which will interact with each other. So there will be interaction among each other along with their non-living environment. Okay, so we can say that ecosystem is a living component of plants and animals where we'll find the interaction between them, where there will be interaction between the living component. Not only there will be interaction between the living component, but also the environment or the surrounding where they used to live. So here we are finding the interaction between the living and the non-living component along with their environment or the surroundings where they are present. So it will give the perfect definition of an ecosystem. All right. So an ecosystem's biotic and abiotic component. Now, biotic means living component and abiotic means non-living component. I'll note it down. Biotic means living component and abiotic means non-living component. So an ecosystem biotic and abiotic composition and structure is determined by the state of a number of interrelated environmental factors. That means the composition of an ecosystem, whether it is biotic or abiotic component or composition, is determined by the number of factors. So there are different types of environmental factors which will define the composition or the component of an ecosystem, and changes in one of those environmental factors will bring a changes in an ecosystem. If one of the environmental factor will change, then that will totally change the composition of an ecosystem. Clear? For example, we can say that a forest fire can convert a mature forest to a community of grass and herbs. Actually, the community, the ecosystem was of forest. It was forest ecosystem. But due to the change in one of the environmental factor is fire. If there will be a fire in a forest ecosystem, then that forest ecosystem, due to the change of environmental factor, that particular forest ecosystem will change into the ecosystem of grasses, herbs, and shrubs. Clear? Actually, it was the tall tree. Okay, actually, in the forest ecosystem, we will find the tall trees, canopy of tall trees. But due to the changes in one of the factor, the entire forest ecosystem change into the ecosystem of grasses, herbs, and the shrubs. So, composition of an ecosystem is totally under the control of environmental factor because we are dependent on those environmental factors also, because in ecosystem we'll not only find the interaction between the living component, but we'll also find the interaction with the environment where we used to live, and those environmental factors will also change the ecosystem of a particular place or particular habitat. Okay, next thing, ecosystems can be different sizes. Okay, it can be a small size which is called micro, like for example small pond. It can be of a medium scale like meso, means middle. All right, like for ecosystem, it can be of larger size, for example like coral reef. So we are finding ecosystem of different sizes. It can be small sizes like which called micro ecosystem, example small pond. It can be of medium scale, which called the meso ecosystem, example forest ecosystem, and in a larger scale we'll find the macro ecosystem, example that is coral reef. Okay, so we have got a huge variety of ecosystem of different sizes, and each ecosystem has got its own characteristics, climatic conditions, okay, soils, has got its own plant community and animal community. But due to the interference of the human being, due to the main interference, okay, there are very few ecosystems which are left untouched by the man. That means all the ecosystems are being interrupted by the human beings or by the man. Right? Though they are natural ecosystems, but due to the interference of the human being, nowadays we'll find lots of artificial ecosystem also. Clear? So the major effort needs to be put forward in order to preserve those ones where still there is no interference by the human being. So we have to preserve those ecosystems which are still untouched, which are not under the control of human beings or which are not under the influence of human beings. So those ecosystems which are still untouched need to be preserved. Clear? So today we have simply learned about the definition of ecology. We have gone through the categories of ecology, and we have gone through the keywords like population, community, and we have just had a brief idea of ecosystem. In the next class, we learn about the structure of an ecosystem. Thank you.